Never Split the Difference by Voss. Have you been wondering what the book Never Split the Difference is about but haven't got around to read it? In this video we are going to summarize the book and extract all the core messages. Hey, it's Emma from 5-Minute Summary, where we cover the core messages of books and contents in 5 minutes. If you are new here or find this content valuable, make sure you click that subscribe button, and don't forget to also click the like button. Let's get into it. In negotiation, people want to be understood and accepted. Listening is the cheapest, yet most effective concession we can make to get there. By listening intensely, you demonstrate empathy and show a sincere desire to better understand what the other side is experiencing. People who view negotiation as a battle of arguments become overwhelmed by the voices in their head. Negotiation is not an act of battle, it's a process of discovery. Your goal is to uncover as much information as possible. To quiet the voices in your head, make your soul an all-encompassing focus the other person and what they have to say. Your goal is to identify what your counterpart actually needs and get them feeling safe enough to talk about what they want. Going too fast is one of the mistakes all negotiators make. If you're too much in a hurry, people can feel as if they're not being heard and you risk undermining the rapport and trust we've built. Put a smile on your face. When people are in a positive frame of mind, they think more quickly and are more likely to collaborate and problem solve. Positivity creates mental agility in both you and your counterpart. Mirrors work magic. Repeat the last 3 words or the critical 1 to 3 words of what someone has just said. By repeating back what people say, your counterpart will inevitably elaborate on what was just said and sustain the process of connecting. When we closely observe a person's face, gestures, and tone of voice, our brain begins to align with theirs in a process called neural resonance, and that lets us know more fully what they think and feel. Labeling is a way of validating someone's emotion by acknowledging it. Give someone's emotion a name and you identify with how that person feels. It gets you close to someone without asking about external factors you know nothing about. Once you've spotted an emotion you want to highlight, the next step is to label it aloud. Once you've thrown out a label, be quiet and listen. In basic terms, people's emotions have 2 levels. The presenting behavior is the part above the surface you can see and hear. Beneath, the underlying feeling is what motivates the behavior. What good negotiators do when labeling is address those underlying emotions. The fastest and most efficient means of establishing a quick working relationship is to acknowledge the negative and diffuse it. Imagine yourself in your counterpart's situation. When you acknowledge the other person's situation, you immediately convey that you are listening, and once they know that you are listening, they may tell you something that you can use. Remember, you're dealing with a person who wants to be appreciated and understood, so use labels to reinforce and encourage positive perceptions and dynamics. Pushing hard for yes doesn't get a negotiator any closer to a win, it just angers the other side. For good negotiators, no provides a great opportunity for you and the other party to clarify what you really want by eliminating what you don't want. Great negotiators seek no because they know that's often when the real negotiation begins. Ask solution-based questions. What about this doesn't work for you? What would you need to make it work? It seems like there's something here that bothers you. People have a need to say no, so don't just hope to hear it at some point, get them to say it early. Using all your skills to create rapport, agreement, and connection with a counterpart is useful, but ultimately that connection is useless unless the other person feels that they are equally as responsible, if not solely responsible, for creating the connection and the new ideas they have. Though the intensity may differ from person to person, you can be sure that everyone you meet is driven by 2 primal urges: the need to feel safe and secure, and the need to feel in control. If you satisfy those drives, you're in the door. The most powerful word in negotiations is fair. As a negotiator, you should strive for a reputation of being fair. Your reputation precedes you, let it precede you in a way that paves success. To get real leverage in a tough negotiation, you have to persuade the other party that they have something to lose if the deal falls through. To bend your counterpart's reality, start out with acknowledging all of their fears, by anchoring their emotions in preparation for a loss so that they'll jump at the chance to avoid it. Going first is not necessarily the best thing when it comes to negotiating price. Let the other side anchor monetary negotiations. One of the easiest ways to bend your counterpart's reality to your point of view is to pivot to non-monetary terms. After you've anchored them high, you can make your offer seem reasonable by offering things that aren't important to you but could be important to them, or if their offer is low, you could ask for things that matter more to you than them. Calibrated questions have the power to educate your counterpart on what the problem is rather than causing conflict by telling them what the problem is. You should use calibrated questions early and often, and there are a few that you will find that you will use at the beginning of nearly every negotiation. What is the biggest challenge you face is one of those questions. A couple of other questions are: what about this is important to you? How would you like me to proceed? Calibrated questions make your counterpart feel like they're in charge, but it's really you who are framing the conversation. Albert Moravian created the 7-38-55 rule, that is, only 7% of a message is based on the words, while 38% comes from the tone of voice and 55% from the speaker's body language and face. Pay very close attention to tone and body language to make sure they match up with the literal meaning of the words. If they don't align, it's quite possible that the speaker is lying or at least unconvinced. In a study of the components of lying, Harvard Business School professor Deepak Malhotra and his co-authors found that, on average, liars use more words than truth-tellers and use far more third-person pronouns. They start talking about him, her, it, one, they, and their rather than I, in order to put some distance between themselves and the lie. Moreover, they discovered that liars tend to speak in more complex sentences in an attempt to win over their suspicious counterparts. The researchers dubbed this the Pinocchio effect because, just like Pinocchio's nose, the number of words grew along with the lie. Using the first-person singular pronoun is another great way to set a boundary without escalating into confrontation. When you say, "I'm sorry, that doesn't work for me," the word "I" strategically focuses your counterpart's attention onto you long enough for you to make a point. Once you're clear on what your bottom line is, you have to be willing to walk away, never be needy for a deal. The person across the table is never the problem, the unsolved issue is. As a negotiator, you should always be aware of which side, at any given moment, feels they have the most to lose if negotiations collapse. To get leverage, persuade your counterpart that they have something real to lose if the deal falls through. Positive leverage is your ability as a negotiator to provide, or withhold, things that your counterpart wants. When they say that, you have power. Negative leverage is a negotiator's ability to make his counterpart suffer. Normative leverage is using the other party's standards to advance your position. If you can show inconsistencies between their beliefs and their actions, you have normative leverage. Let what you know guide you, but not blind you. Every case is new, so remain flexible and adaptable. Work to understand the other side's religion. Digging into worldviews inherently implies moving beyond the negotiating table and into the life, emotional and otherwise, of your counterpart. Exploit the similarity principle. People are more apt to concede to someone they share a cultural similarity with, so dig for what makes them tick and show that you share common ground. If you enjoy this video and find it valuable, click the like button and subscribe to the channel. Make sure to also check out the other videos in the Personal Development and Investing series where you will find more 5-minute summaries of amazing books. I'll see you on the next one.